I'm Adrian, the Cruise and Travel Guide. Cruise content creators Ben and David recently toured Australia via cruise and land, and like you, I'm sure I've been enjoying watching their take. Glancing at their latest thumbnails, you might be forgiven for thinking that they had a terrible time, but you'll be glad to know that they did enjoy most of their trip. The boys, though, made at least one mistake, and I'll tell you what that is in this video because I don't want you to make it as well. And if you enjoy learning about new cruise destinations, then give this video a thumbs up. Leave an emoji in the comments below letting me know what your preferred cruise weather is. Remember, when it's time to plan your next holiday, head to my website first where you can search, compare and book. Ben and David recently visited Australia, and while here they managed to do more than their fair share of cruising and exploration. In fact, they cruised on Disney Wonder, Royal Princess and Celebrity Edge, all ships that I've recently reviewed. One of the biggest disappointments for the boys, though, had to do with a shore excursion they booked while cruising on board Celebrity Edge. The specific tour in question was for the Great Barrier Reef and Whitehaven Beach, and at $430 each, the thing isn't cheap. Far more expensive, I might add, for those of us living with the Australian dollar in our pocket. The tour looks to be offered by local operator Iconic Whitsunday. The company offers the Viper Tour experience, Viper being the company's Rolls-Royce jet engine powered boat that, according to their website, delivers the smoothest, fastest way to experience Whitehaven Beach and the Great Barrier Reef. Now, for context, and for those of you in particular watching from overseas, Australia is a big place. It is huge. The Great Barrier Reef itself is the largest living structure on Earth and stretches for around 2,300 kilometers or 1,429 miles. Airlie Beach, where the boys embarked on their tour from, is about 100 kilometers or roughly 62 miles away from the Outer Reef, which is the more desirable part of the reef to snorkel and explore. A regular tour boat can take up to 3 hours one way to reach the Outer Reef, and that's assuming that the weather is playing nice. Iconic Whitsunday's high-speed Viper cuts down that time to about 1 hour each way, and allows tourists to experience the reef in much speedier fashion. The company appears to offer 2 versions of the tour, one for cruise lines, which Ben and David and other travelers on board Celebrity Edge booked, and then one for land-based travelers, which actually extends or goes for 9 hours. Like the Celebrity version, it includes both the Outer Great Barrier Reef and Whitehaven Beach, plus it adds Hill Inlet to the mix. The cost when booked direct, wait for this part, is just 311 Australian dollars per person, less than half the 690 Australian dollars that Celebrity's charging for the shorter version. The Celebrity or cruise version of this shore excursion is 6 hours, and I do realize that Ben and David mentioned it was 6 hours 45 minutes. It actually is 6. That was even in their video and the Celebrity website. If you've not seen their video yet, the boys go on to detail how the start of their tour was delayed by over an hour, and according to them, the tour operators were as miffed as the guests, as the delay meant they couldn't reach the Outer Reef as promised. That would have been a massive disappointment to Ben and David, and it was based on their video, and I share their frustration. The boys and the other 20 or so people that were booked on this tour certainly paid the price that was asked of them, and could only really go off the blurb that was written about this shore excursion. So what exactly was the mistake? As much as I love a cruise, and I've been on almost 50, the Great Barrier Reef in tropical far north Queensland is not a place you can easily see and experience from the likes of a cruise ship. 8 to 10 hours, maybe even less, in a port that is very far away from the Great Barrier Reef, and in particular the Outer Reef, is just not enough time to explore it in any meaningful way. It's clear that Celebrity's timing issue was the problem here. In particular, they decided to offer a tour that was so time sensitive and then not make sure that its passengers were there at the start of the tour as they should have been. This cost the entire group over an hour of their tour's time, and in Ben and David's words, they flew 10,000 miles to experience something special and unique and were ultimately let down. I don't want you to have that experience as well, and if you've not done your research to understand just how vast this place is, you too can be taken for a ride when it comes to both the cost and the ultimate experience of a tour that just doesn't suit what you're wanting to experience. Let me be clear, this is not the fault of Ben and David or any other traveler that's booked this cruise experience or shore excursion. It's really a case of taking a very specific type of risk when you travel by cruise to certain places. The second mistake is in thinking that there was an alternative way to do this tour. In the video, David says, "I could have done that tour myself a lot cheaper and been off earlier by getting one of those first 10 tender tickets." No, just no. Please do not think that you can do this type of a tour alone. While there are some other operators from Airlie Beach with high-speed boat options that can get you to the Outer Reef and back within a day, I don't believe there are any that will allow you to do this from a cruise, and under no circumstances should you attempt this. Not only will you need to contend with the ship's water shuttle or tender operations, which can take hours, in particular if you don't have priority access thanks to staying in a suite or having a particular loyalty perk level or status, but you'll then need to make sure that you get back to the ship on time before it departs, and it is not a risk worth taking. Iconic Whitsunday's website even has this listed under its FAQ. They openly state that their regular tour is not compatible with cruise ship port times, but they do have an exclusive option, which is the one that the boys booked. A cruise is a brilliant way to explore the world. I love it, but realistically, we do know that for particular places in the world, there are just some better ways to travel, and cruising really is great at giving you a particular taste or flavor for a place, and hopefully making you want to return one day for more in-depth travel, but a cruise isn't typically that. This is a lesson to all of us to do our research well before we travel, particularly when you are spending so much time, energy, money, distance, the whole thing, in experiencing or wanting to experience something that is on your bucket list effectively. I've learned long ago not to take much for granted, and the words in a shore excursion brochure rank among the top of those, which I take with a grain of salt. In some cases, a cruise actually isn't the best way to experience a particular port or place, and if you choose to experience that place via cruise, then you have to know that you are making a compromise. The key is do your research and be aware of what that compromise is. In this instance, Celebrity has an ultimate responsibility to its guests, and I was glad to hear that they had refunded 50% of the tour cost to Ben and David. Hopefully that resolution was also extended to the other affected travelers. For what it's worth, I absolutely loved getting to see Ben and David experience our beautiful country, and doing so in style, might I add. And I hope this video serves to help better prepare you for your future trip to Australia. This is a giant place. If there are places that you want to see in detail, a cruise might not be the best way to do it, or at least not all of it. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, leave a comment. Let me know what your thoughts are. If you've traveled to other places in the world where you think that a cruise is fun, but might not be the best way to actually explore a destination or place. And when you're ready to book your cruise, head to my website, thecruiseandtravelguide.com.au. Give me a follow on Facebook and Instagram at The Cruise and Travel Guide to stay up to date with my travels as they happen. Thanks as always for watching, and I'll see you soon.